la-las, we can tell that it's time for another la-la Lambert tutorial. This time, number 2 in our Photoshop series called Improving Images. We're going to go take what we learned last time in terms of the toolbar, and we're going to put it straight to use on a fairly common thing, which is improving images. Certainly if something is taken from a phone or even a digital camera, often it can benefit from these types of adjustments. And the idea is that we are artfully going to improve them. Often as a communication technologist, we're called on to apply our art, and we apply it to commerce. Commerce is the buying and selling of goods and services. So it's in the people who pay us best interest to want to look their products and services look as good as possible. If they ask us to make them look better than they are, in an effort to cheat people, then maybe that's a business strategy they might want to revisit. But for now, let's assume everything's great, and what we're going to do is practice some simple things to improve average images. So we'll start with this image here, this lovely image of cliffs, moss-covered cliffs with the sea in the background. This, in fact, is a picture I could have taken. I didn't, but I could have, because you can see in the background that the horizon is tilted. This picture is not straight. So what we want to do is we want to change the orientation of this picture. We want to change its shape. So when you change the shape of something, that is pretty much what they call a transformation. We go up to Edit, Transform to do these transformations. So here they are here. Here are the transformations: scale, rotate, skew. We can learn all these, and in fact we must. But in the meantime, there's actually a tip for this kind of thing. What we could do is go to the eyedropper tool, and that's a palette down here. If we hold here and mouse over these things, eventually they would tell us what they are. But the other hint the toolbar gives us is these arrows here to suggest that something's in behind it. So in behind the eyedropper tool are these other tools, and one of them is called the ruler tool. So we'll click on that, and what we do is we could use this to actually measure things. We could click here, and it would give us the distance between those 2 points. The other thing we could do with this is we could click on the horizon and drag out, make sure that we're dragging right across that horizon line. We can see that. And when we let go, what it brings up here is what they call a context-sensitive menu. So depending on what tool we choose down on the toolbar, we're going to get a different set of controls up here. And in this case, we've drawn this, and it's offering to straighten our layer for us. So who could refuse that? Why don't we take advantage and click on Straighten Layer? And you see what happens? Now we can drag a ruler down here. We can see we have a perfectly straight horizon, which is great, except that look what's happened here. We've lost some of the picture in the corners. So our image can't be as big as it is here, but it can keep the same proportion, the same ratio of height to width, which is probably what we want to do. What we want to do to get rid of information we don't want, though, is we use one of these tools along here we discussed last time, and that's the crop tool. So I would click on this, and what we get are these corners and handles. And what we can do is move in to restrict the amount of information we see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab from a corner here, push the shift key, and I'm going to pull down until I'm in the bounds of the picture. See, I'm missing the top here. And I'm going to do the same thing from the bottom here. Pull it in like this. And that seems to be about the best I can do. And you see how much picture information I'm losing, but I'm keeping the same ratio of height to width, and that might be valuable so that this picture can fit in the same area that it came from, either in a page layout or on a website, that sort of thing. So then what I would do is go ahead, double-click there, and this would be my new area. I'll press click out of that, and I get rid of the handles. So there we've straightened it and we've cropped it, which is great. Now, the next thing we might want to take advantage of is setting the levels. So that doesn't change the shape of it, so it's not going to be a transformation. It's going to be what we call an image adjustment. So if I go along here, I can see the types of adjustments I can make. One of them is called levels. Let's click on it here. And what I bring up is this palette. And what it does is offers us a chance to adjust how the picture appears to us. So we could play around with this, Or they give us some choices here. If we knew something in the picture was supposed to be white, we could use this eyedropper, we could click on it, and we could go into the picture to click on a white thing. In a portrait, for example, that might be the highlight in someone's eye. We would always want to start there with the white. In this case, it's not so easy. We don't even know if we're going to lose anything there. So the other alternative is black. If we knew something in this picture was going to be black. But these are all earth tones, so we don't know about that. But what we do know is what we like, and we're doing this picture for pleasing effect. So here I can scrub in like this if I wanted to, but really the picture suffers from maybe a thickness in the middle here. So what we can do, if I open this, see what's happening in this area here? We're getting some added detail. So what I could do is open this up a bit. And then here on the preview thing, I could click it off, click it on. Is that a better picture? Well, it's certainly easier to see. It's less gloomy. And if we were, for example, doing this as a travel site, maybe we would want exactly that. So why don't we keep that and say OK. So we adjusted the levels. If we go back up to image adjustments, we can go here to hue or let's go to brightness and contrast. Don't use this one a lot, but again, it has an adjustment that we can use. Make the picture a little brighter. Make it a little more contrasty or a little less. What do you think? Better, worse? Better, worse? Better. Let's call it better. And certainly this is something you'd want to experiment with. We'll say OK. Next, image adjustments. And notice that all of these things have what they call keyboard commands here. So if we're going up here a number of times in any kind of Photoshop session and we're picking things from these menus, what we would probably want to do is learn these keyboard shortcuts. For example, hue saturation, take it off there. I would go Control U, and that would bring up that palette. This one has the opportunity to colorize something. If you click on it, you can adjust the color of it like this. So that could be handy if we were just changing the color of someone's tie. But in this case, it's a little bit more subtle. So what we can do here in the saturation here is saturation is depth of color. We can bump this up a bit. If we bump it up too much, the colors become unnatural. But if we go from 0 and then start going up, better, worse, a little more vibrant, right? Better, worse, a little more vibrant. So let's keep that one too. Say OK. So we've made some pretty big changes to this image, some pretty big improvements. What we can do is go up here to the history palette. If I click on it, what it does is shows me the corrections or adjustments that we've made. This is where we are now. This is where we started. So we've really opened it up quite a bit and bumped the color. It's a much more attractive composition. But the keen-eyed among you may notice, because you're communication technologists, that there's something going on up here. What is this? Now, this could either this is UFOs in our picture, or it's smudges. Smudges on the lens, perhaps, or a dirty sensor on the camera. Either way, what we want to do is get rid of them. So we could use a paintbrush, but we would risk getting splotches of uneven color in there. So what we could do, though, is go up here to this palette, and this is the spot healing brush tool. So it's like a Band-Aid for a picture, and that's the icon they give us to remember it by. So if I click on this, what happens is it will click with the paintbrush, and it will sample all the pixels around the smudge and make the smudge the same color as the surrounding pixels. So what I can do is click here, and you see they're gone. See here? There's a bit of a smudge here, perhaps. It's gone. Little swipe here, and that's gone. While I'm here, I might as well press the space bar, get my hand, and I'll pan across the image. Do I see any more? No. So we're good for that. So we've got our picture here now, Control minus, make it a little smaller. So that's sort of our picture now. But the last thing we'll do is we will go up here to Filter and go to Sharpen. So almost every picture that's opened up, worked on, could benefit from some kind of sharpening. And what we use for this is, although we'll investigate all these in time, but this unsharp mask. And we can accept whatever settings are on that now, and by scrubbing this, we can see sort of what it does. This is not going to do anything, but as we bump it up, we really begin to affect it, and what happens is we start to lose some edges here. But if you hover in and around this 30 to 50% mark, we preview it on and off. You don't see much difference, but if you were looking at this live, you could see that that was improving the image and also making it a little sharper and not detracting from it in any way. So I'm going to accept that, and what we can do now is save this. We can go, and why not save as? Sometimes it never hurts to change the name to something like V2, so it's version 2 of the same picture. We'll save this as secure in the knowledge that our clients should be very pleased with these improvements. So that's a little tutorial on improving images, and so why not look for an image improvement assignment in a pickup folder near you where you can test these things out for yourself. And until later, this is Mr. Lambert saying...